Our native hazel, Corylus avellana, is a small tree or multi-stemmed shrub of the hedgerows. In middle of winter, it's a real harbinger of spring, and it makes me feel joyful that spring is just around the corner. You see these bare stems here, and on the end of the stems you see these beautiful, quite long catkins or lamb's tails. If we take a closer look here, we can see these male catkins. The male catkins are just a mass, perhaps a couple of hundred, of individual male flowers, and their job is to release pollen. You can sometimes see a cloud of yellow pollen, and that's got to travel across the hedgerow to pollinate the flowers on another tree or another bush over there. Meanwhile, you also see just here these lovely little delicate and very, very elegant red female flowers just waiting to receive the pollen and in turn develop into mature hazelnuts later on in the season. Because they're wind pollinated, these flowers don't produce any nectar, but if you do watch closely, you will be able to find lots of pollinators visiting here. They might not get the sugary high from the nectar, but they will get lots and lots of protein from the pollen that they're able to collect. Hazel is self-incompatible, so if you want to produce some good nuts on your trees, you're going to have pollinating partners, perhaps at least 2 plants in your garden. Or if there's a hedgerow close by, it's likely to have a hazel in it, and then you'll be okay. If you look around the base of a hazel tree, even in the middle of winter, you should be able to find some empty shells. The hazelnuts are going to be ripe and mature by the middle of summer. They're going to be ready by August through to September, and they're going to be a real boon for wildlife later on in the season. They're going to provide food for squirrels and the rare hazel dormouse. They're either going to eat these or they're going to store them away to see them through next winter. Of course, birds will also benefit from hazels. Creatures like woodpeckers and nuthatches will enjoy a feast. You might not think it, but this is also a hazel. This is a cultivar called Contorted. It originated in a hedgerow in Gloucestershire in about 1860 and has been propagated from that one ever since. It's particularly interesting in the middle of winter. When there's no foliage, you can see these lovely twists and spirals to the stems. I think it's really fantastic for horticultural interest. It's not quite so good for wildlife though. It doesn't have such a prolific collection of catkins, nor the little female flowers, nor indeed the collection of nuts later on in the season. This contorted hazel has been grafted onto a rootstock, and if you look just below the scar, just below the junction, you'll see lots of straight stems coming up. If you want to keep your lovely spiral interest, cut them off, otherwise they'll overwhelm your tree. Other heroes in the middle of the winter include ivy, hawthorn, pyracantha, all of which provide lovely berries that have ripened through autumn and into winter and provide sustenance and food for birds and a range of other wildlife. Here's another one of horticultural interest. This is the Turkish hazel, sometimes called the cluster hazel, Corylus colurna. It's a much taller tree, as you can see, much more vigorous perhaps than Corylus avellana, but still the lovely same catkins, beautiful red flowers. This one is important because it's quite vigorous. It provides the rootstock for grafting and commercial nut production. Later on in the summer, it will produce this fantastic cluster of hazels. Now, they're not very good to eat, but they are quite fascinating to look at. Hazel is a native species and should be quite easy to grow. All it needs is a moist but well-drained soil in full sun or part shade. Hazel is a really useful shrub or tree to have, not only for wildlife, but for a host of other functions around your garden. It's flexible, it's durable, so you can make different structures to support your beans and your peas up, and you can also add it to your compost heap, or perhaps even make a dead hedge, which provides a fantastic habitat for lots of other bugs and grubs in your garden. This winter, combine a hazel with one of those stalwarts of berry production, ivy, hawthorn, pyracantha, and turn your garden into a larder that will sustain wildlife through the winter. One small garden, one big difference.
If you find our videos helpful, click the like, subscribe, and notification buttons below to help us reach more people with free expert advice.